Hey guys, how you doing? So we're gonna wait for about 100 people to log on, and then we're gonna jump into it. Let me know if the sound is good. Let me know if the video is good. Can you see me clearly? Lay it down in the comments. I'm a little early. Yeah, I'm a little early. Got excited. All right. So, well, we're still loading up here. How many people we have? 50 people. Hello, 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 everybody. How you guys doing? Is that whiskey? There we go. I'll put that here. No, it's not whiskey, just water. You get dry mouth if you talk continuously for half an hour. So you guys can see everything. It's all go, 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 go. All right, good, good. How's the lighting? Everything cool? Yeah. All right, good, 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 good. I'm gonna wait for about 100 people to get on, and then I'm going to get into it for sure. No, it's not whiskey. It's just water. Just water. What are you doing today, man? Well, right now I'm live streaming. Turn off comment sounds. Oh, Jesus, back on again. I thought I muted that. It says mute. You're hearing the clicking, eh? Yeah, hold on a second. How do I thought I shut that off. All right. You hearing the drops? Boop, boop. I guess you are. Yeah, of course you are, because it's coming through the mic. Give me a second. I thought I shut that off. Sounds. It is off, but it's not off. All right, I know what to do. Give me a second. I have to hack this. Sounds. We're going to do output, internal speakers, mute. All right, I think we should be good now. Yeah, there we go. Good, good, good. Yeah, it's weird. I can't. Anyway, I just got this software yesterday, so I'm still working on it. Okay, let's see. Let's answer one or two questions while we're waiting for the big group to show up. Hey, Steph, what does a CS master's degree do for job prospects? Still to this day, in most companies, if you have a degree, it's going to help. Although that's changing, as you've seen famously, Elon Musk said that he doesn't care what kind of degree you have. Apple and I think Google did an analysis, and they found that there was no difference in ability between people with a CS with a degree or not a degree in terms of the quality of the employee. So yeah, that is fading. That is fading slowly, slowly, like the typewriter, I think. Yeah, let's try another one. All right. What's the best way to find out if coding is right for you? Languages, projects, courses, tutorials. You learn the basics, and then you jump into it, and you start writing a bit of code. You do one or two projects. The route that I teach is you do your foundations, then you go out there and you do a couple of freelance gigs. You're going to learn very quickly whether or not you like what it is you do, whether or not you like coding. Can we have a tour of your house? Well, I'm actually moving. I bought a new place, and I'm moving out in about a month. So maybe I'll give a tour of that when I move. All right. Steph, how tall are you? I am 6'2". 6'2". Hey, Steph, what are your thoughts over OOP versus data-oriented design? You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's an either or. Personally, the way I designed apps going back, to the 90s, I was not somebody who would develop the object layer first, even though that's what a lot of people would teach. For me, I would always develop the views to show the clients what they were getting, if there were views, and then I would design the database. And once I had the database and the views designed, then I would go into the object level. I don't know if that helps you or not. Let's see what this is all about. Hey, Steph, just finished your HTML course and started on the CSS. Learning a lot. Thanks. And, well, thanks for posting. I'm glad I could help, Brent. That's the whole point of this. All right. When to use PHP and when Node.js? The only time I would use Node.js in terms of if you're picking a technical reason is if you have a lot of data you got to push out really, really quick. Very unusual circumstances. That being said, I'm not saying I would use PHP over Node all the time. I'm just saying that's the only technical reason I can see why you'd want to use Node. Other than that, they're neck and neck. They're both good technology stacks. All right. Hi, Steph. Is it a good idea to follow tutorials and then add the code you write there to GitHub? What do you mean, in terms of promotional purposes or in terms of learning purposes? I'm not sure the context of your question. We're almost at 100. When we're at 100, I'm going to answer a question that was sent to me back in February. I get so many emails. I got emails back in February I still have to address. Some business, some people just asking questions. So, yeah, that's the way it goes. It was a big email. All right, we got over 100. So I assume I got to answer this one. This came up read. Hey, Steph, is UML still relevant today? UML is the I think it's universal modeling language. I think it's universal. And it's basically you draw a bunch of squares and circles and triangles, and you model all kinds of different aspects of your application. It could be your object design, it could be process flow, it could be use cases. It's funny, I was just talking to my friend of mine who works at one of the major banks up here in Canada. He's a developer. And they still use UML. Now, UML, they went really crazy with UML in the 1990s where they were trying to add more and more functionality to UML. They were trying to add more and more functionality to UML to the point where you would add certain UML apps that would actually write Java code based on your UML diagrams. And then they took it further and further and further, as people like to do. And it came to the point where the UML language, if you're going to call it that, became its own language. And people started advocating writing apps in UML, which is silly and ridiculous. Now that's pulled back quite a bit. But that's an example of like a meta technology going a little bit too far and people realizing, oh, wait a second, we got to pull this back. Is it still relevant? Yes, in larger corporations are still that thing, but it's not like what it used to be. At one point, it was the hot technology. Let's see what this guy said here. Okay. Hey, Steph, I would like to know how much knowledge do I need about data structures and algorithms to be successful freelance as a PHP and Python developer. I am getting exhausted with all those maths. Here you go. You're going to love me for this one. You hardly have to know anything about data structures and algorithms to be a freelancer in PHP and Python. Hardly anything for the vast majority of projects. So don't let the nerdlings out there tell you that you have to know. It's not true. Learn the web stack, understand the whole internet and the web and its bottlenecks and how it works, how the browsers work. Understand databases, concentrate on SQL-based databases, and you're good to go in that regard. So yeah, algorithms, structures, it's over-exaggerated. You just got to know your basics, basic collection types and stuff. That's it. What do we got here? Does being a system administrator with lots of scripting experience, DOS, VB, .NET, PowerShell, help transition to software as redevelopment role with a project portfolio and mean and MERN certs? Yeah, if you understand the basics of coding with .NET, I assume VB.NET, it's the principles that are difficult. The principles of programming. Once you get past them, what objects are and functions, arrays, and collections, return types, all this kind of stuff, then to migrate into different areas, it won't be that difficult for you. All right, question. Prasad asks, any suggestions for Python? In what context? Learning Python, getting a job in Python, buying a Python at a pet store? You tell me. Hey, Steph, is .NET Core a good choice to learn in 2020? Yeah, .NET is very big, Very big. I like this one. Kickboxing or jiu-jitsu? That's an interesting one. For street fighting, I would say kickboxing. Because when I was a bouncer in a nightclub, you didn't want to roll on the ground because there was never, very rarely would be one guy you would have to contend with. You'd have to contend with multiple opponents. So if you go on the ground, there could be broken glass on the ground. It's dirty, it's messy. People come up behind you with a chair or worse. So I would rather be mobile in moving. Not taking away from jiu-jitsu, but to roll around on the ground in a bar situation, not my choice, because it's rarely people fight one-on-one. That doesn't work in the real world. So you got to be able to move. You got to be able to, I'm not saying if you're a kickboxer, you're going to be able to handle 10 guys at the same time. It's a very difficult situation, but at least you're mobile. So that's my take on that one. Getting a job. It depends what your background is, right? Do you want to get into AI, machine learning? Chances are you're gonna have to go work for a larger institution, which means bureaucracy and red tape. If you're going to do freelancing, yeah, for sure you can do scripting. There's a lot of big demand for Python scripters, so that you could probably get a job there without any degrees. And of course, if you're doing freelance web stack, then Python is great there as well. What is 169? That's how old I am. All right. Steph, I am struggling with writing my own functions in JS. Can I read them? I can read them and see what they are doing, but writing my own has been tough. Well, it just comes with practice. The first time you went bike riding was tough. The first time you step in a ring, it's tough. Just write code, just write functions. And do simple ones and then start building up from there. All right, let's see what we got here. Hi, Steph. When do you think a person should dive into building a web development business? I learned HTML, CSS, Sass, less, JS, React, Redux, and MERN stack. Is this enough for me to get started? 100%. You're ready to go. Jump into it. In terms of tech skills, Stefan, what about eyes? Will I spoil my eyesight if I code a lot? No. Okay, what do we got here? Hey, Steph, first of all, thank you for the good videos here on YouTube. You definitely inspire me to give tutorials online. What kind of code tutorial would you suggest to begin with that I can give? I don't know. It depends on what it is interests you, and the market will change depending on what people want. I could easily go for put out videos that I know would get much greater views. I have videos with over 1 million views, but I try to put out stuff that I think complements what's already out there on YouTube, what's kind of unique. But I'll leave that up to you. Sateta says, good morning, good morning. I hope everything is well. All right, let me just, I'm going to pull up this letter here that was sent to me a while back. And I'm going to read it and comment on this before we go on with more Q&A. So I'll just read this. I have been following your videos on YouTube. I like the method of thinking approach and approaching issues. I am interested in developing a PWA, progressive web app. Not sure which of your courses will help me the most. You do my web stack course because PWA is all about the web stack. Okay, so he continues. Just a quick background about myself. I was interested in playing with fancy JavaScripts as a kid. Did my degree in business information systems. Started working in 2008 in IT support and business administration. I started working as a software developer in 2011. Started with ASP.NET. Slowly moved to Python. I worked in core development until 2015. So he's got some experience, this guy. Life got in the way. I needed to prioritize pay over passion. I'm not sure. I guess he went into his IS here, his BIS. Although I'm pretty sure he could have made that kind of money as a programmer and more. Anyway, after that, he's been back to business, administration, operations, far from coding. I do play around in my free time, nothing serious. Anyway, let's get to the point of the email. Now, a trading company, a B2B company, basically it's a business that serves other businesses. That's what B2B means, business to business. I work at, okay, so the trading company works at wants to develop a website that will show all the products they have. Basically, it's a catalog where you see all the products. Pick out the ones you want, send a list to the company so they can quote the best price, discuss payment, delivery, etc. It seems very, very approachable, typical thing. Not uncommon, that kind of project. If you're looking for companies to develop a project, most are offering WordPress or mobile app native hybrid. I was thinking on what you're talking about Flutter. Flutter is a Google framework for developing mobile apps cross-platform, one code base with Dart programming language. It's kind of like JavaScript. And you don't have to write natively for iOS and then natively for Android. You just write one code base, and that can be used a lot of times. But Flutter, there's Flutter. You just go straight PWA. You don't have to use Flutter. Anyway, I am excited, and I want to build a system. Yeah, I'm making that face because he sent this email to me in February, so it's a little late, but we're gonna do. Big emails like this, I see that and I go, oof, and I pass them by. I do, this is my chance. I have to show a prototype on April 1st. If I can deliver something promising and get the project, I chose the date deliberately. They just said 1 month. I felt since Gmail was launched on the 1st of April, it's a good day. If it fails, it's Fool's Day, rather apt for me. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to this sooner. Again, so many emails, so many messages. Despite all the things I've done, I cannot even code simple HTML. I cannot even code a simple HTML website without Googling or looking at a cheat sheet. I feel that I need to get to basics and restart. Forget all I know and start from scratch. Based on your experience as a teacher and developer, what do you feel? Kindly guide this fool. If you haven't coded for years, you're going to forget things. I said it in my last stream. I forget much more than I remember now. I'm going to just get out of here. Hold on. So yeah, I forget much more than I currently remember. But once you get back into it and you start writing code, you may have to Google for the first day or two, but it's just going to come back much more quickly. So it's like riding a bike. It will come back. So what I would do, maybe just do a couple quick refresher tutorials, and then I would just jump into it and learn what you need to learn as you need to learn. As I said, learn on a need to nerd basis. You have enough of a background in programming that you should be fine. So there you go. That was that email. I wanted to answer that because it was sitting in my inbox for months now. So let me scroll down. Answer some more questions. Where in Canada are you? Hello from Vancouver. Vancouver. I'm jealous of Vancouver. You got the orcas and it's quite warm. I'm in Montreal. Hello from Montreal. Let me go on. Tristan King, what do you think of Flutter? I think Flutter is a very interesting technology, worth looking at. I talked about it many months ago. Here we go. Hello, Sev. What is the meaning of life? I can't talk about it on this stream, only on my other channel. All right. Thoughts on the recent out-of-the-box Linux support for Chromebooks? How does it compare to WSL for Windows? I do not know. All I know is that all this technology is getting pretty good these days. Okay. As my English teacher used to say, you're older than dirt. Indeed, I am. There we go. Let's go. Sorry, I'm just lining these things up. Hey, Steph, any advice on how to grow in competence quickly on JS, React, Node? Write code. If you know your basics, get away from tutorials and start writing code and solving problems. A big part of being a professional developer is figuring out problems, figuring out how to get things done. There's no one-size-fits-all solutions in software development. Every project that you approach are going to have different requirements. So you need to be able to think on your feet. That's a big part about it. This guy, Robert, I don't know who this guy is. Why is PHP so much better than Ruby? Oh, so many reasons. I could get a book. I could write a book on that. Yeah. Well, I have to refrain. I'll stop. Okay, Simon Chow, is watching Udemy videos to get the hang of the basics a bad thing? You don't want to sit there passively and watch the videos. That's why you should do StudioWeb training, where you actually watch and then code, get feedback from my system, get hints from my system, watch more videos, code, get feedback and hints from my system in real time. So I have to do that because Udemy is, a competitor. So, but there are good courses on there, I'm sure. Amongst the millions, you might find a few. What is the industry standard IDE nowadays? I don't think there is any. I would look at Visual Studio Code, though. That's a good one. Anything from JetBrains, very good company. And there are others. There's a lot of good code. There's a lot of good apps these days. So I wouldn't, just choose what you prefer. There's a lot of good stuff out there. What else do we have here? Okay, I'm just reading some of these comments. I'm trying to put out some good ones. All right, here we go. How important is design to a developer, such as structure and design, HTML and CSS? So you're talking about the structure. I think that's the first thing you have to look at. You have to have a good structure for your apps, whether you're doing web apps or whatnot, before you start writing code. So that's, but that's where frameworks come in, by the way. A framework will provide that structure for you. That's one of the main reasons for a framework, in fact, is that it gives you a predefined structure that's been worked out and refined over time that will work in many situations. All right, let's see what we got here. Working at the same time studying CS in Montreal, possible thoughts? Yeah, why not? Montreal is a good place for people who have no cars, and the food's inexpensive. Rent is relatively inexpensive. I'll have to pass on this guy. Very professional here, very professional. Why a color of your hat is always dark? I have some light color hats too. There we go here. Okay, sorry, that phone got through. There's a good question, in fact. Sorry about that, guys. Will you be doing updates to your programs like Python for beginners to include what's new in Python 3.8 or your web development course to include JS 6? I update the course when what I'm teaching in my course has changed, and thus far I taught Python 3.5 and 6. Nothing has changed as far as I know in 3.8 versus 3.5 and 3.6. Same with the JS. Yes, JS 6 is new stuff, but once you've done my foundation courses, once you've done the courses, as people have commented, for you to learn any new things on your own will be pretty trivial. But, in time, I might put some stuff up. Greetings from Poland, Steph. Well, greetings from Canada. What about PWA, Progressive Web Apps? I'm a big advocate of that. I think that's a good technology to go with. All right, where we go? 186 people, not bad. And Roberto, okay. There we go. Sorry. How did you start with YouTube, and what were the challenges you found in your way? Well, the YouTube thing's kind of a long time ago. I had one of my assistants just throw up a bunch of videos on YouTube. And then I just forgot about it for the longest time. I would occasionally post. I didn't really pay attention to it. And about 3 years ago, I decided, okay, I want to become better at presenting in front of the camera, speaking in front of the camera. So I figured YouTube would be a good avenue to do that. It was a hobby. And so I I started recording, and I dedicated myself to doing one video a day for a year, which I did do. The biggest challenge was it was a lot of technical hurdles, trying to figure out how to do it so that the video looked good, the sound was good. And I'm an obsessive compulsive to a certain extent. And so I kept buying new mics and cameras and trying different lighting and just trying to learn. And at the same time, I was also learning how to present in front of the camera. And so here we are. So the challenge was, it was just those fundamental things. That's what it was. At the end of the day, if you have good content, you build an audience. And again, I had no intention of doing anything with the YouTube other than that. I had no expectation to be over 150,000 subs. It is what it is. So that's what it is. So what I would suggest is that you, again, like I always teach, fundamentals, just good sound, decent video quality, but sound's more important, and good content, and you be fine with that. It's a lot of fun, but it's work. There we go. Here we go. Hey, Steph, will I learn more things if I work in a small company as a programmer? Almost 100%. 100%, because you're going to be doing all kinds of different things. What's this? Golbar Goshani. I hope I said that right. Barge. Love your channel. Well, thanks. Great. Thanks for posting that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's keep going down. Let's see. What is your advice for starting a YouTube channel? And should I, as a developer, even do that? Depends what you want to do. The good thing about YouTube is we'll teach you to speak in front of a camera, and having public speaking skills, good speaking skills, I think is a valuable skill set. And it might, if you get a bit of a following on YouTube, would be good, very good for your programming career, because you're going to be a known entity. I get people offer me work and jobs, like it's unlimited. I don't do that, and but it does get the word out about you if you put out good material. So I'd say, why not? That's a side thing, Any good project ideas for an interview portfolio? Yes. Go see real businesses and help them with their sites or their little projects they got to do. That is the best thing to put on your resume. I'm getting a lot of YouTubing questions today. Thomas, hey Steph, do you have any YouTubing tips? Yeah, YouTubing tips. Quality is king. Content is king. Excuse me. Sound quality is more important than video quality. And you don't need to go spend ridiculous amounts of money on microphones and cameras these days. They all do very, very good. Lighting is more important than the quality of the camera. You can take a $500 camera and make it look really good with just decent, cheap lighting, but decent lighting. It doesn't have to be the $1,000 lights or $10,000 lights. You can just do it very inexpensively. That's my advice to you. Like, I went out and I spent a lot of money on cameras and mics. I didn't have to. Now I should have known better. It's all about the basics again. Lighting is key. This guy Roberto, he keeps asking the same question. I don't know why. All right. Pizza or eat PHP or eat pizza? Well, you should be eating pizza while writing PHP. Are we getting the same questions? Maybe I'm just not. Okay, here we go. V King, Steph, it's always great to hear your thoughts. What would you suggest for a second language if I'm already deep into C++? I started doing Python, but I do not see great perspectives as a freelancing, for freelancing, excuse me. The king of freelance is PHP web stack. That's the king of freelance. That is for sure. If you want to do that kind of work, you may not want to do that kind of work. But, it should be very approachable. C++ programming is very different from the web stack. So, but you should be able to get your hands wrapped around that. Don't get intimidated by the design aspects in terms of the visual component. You can just use templates in that situation. All right, how are we doing? 30 minutes in. Yo, Steph, what sort of task should a junior front-end dev be proficient in so that they're useful to a company? You junior front-end dev should be useful to... Depends on the company. Depends on what they want. As a general rule, outside of code, I would say learn to document your code well. Learn to write succinctly and simply. Learn to communicate very well. That will make you that will make you very popular with your prospective employers. And ask them, what skills do you need me to have? What technical skills do you need me to have? Yeah. Also, get into the back end. There's a lot of money in back end. Semantic UI or Bootstrap? I've never used Semantic UI, but Bootstrap I think has a greater market share, and so I would consider that. Let's see. This is what would you do if you were 20 years old now? If you're 20 years old, now is the time to explore potential for business. Because when you first start a business, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you may mess up financially. That's very common. But when you're 20 years old and you mess up after 2-3 years, you're only 23, you got lots of runway ahead of you. So when you're 20 years old, I'd be looking at business. Easiest first type of business to get into is freelancing. And then you could take it from there. That's what I would do. There we go. When will PHP die? In 24.67 years. Hey, Steph. Oh, hold on. Let me do this. Hey, Steph. Day to day as a developer, do you find that more often than not you are allowed to think through problems, or are you constantly having to juggle priorities and tasks? Depends on the company you're working at, and it depends at what level or where they are in the development cycle. So it really depends on those two factors. So for example, if you have a very mature code base that's functional and people are using it and it's working, then you have more time to think about any changes or updates you might be doing to it. All right. Okay. Do you even lift, bro? Well, I was a little bit. I'm not a lifter, but I haven't been able to go to the gym for over a month now, and so it's not too good. Not too good. But I'm not a lifter. I'm more of when I was training, I would do some lifting, but I do a lot more heavy bag work and more traditional boxing type of training than anything else. Okay, Suman says, hi, Steph. As far as the idea of freelancing goes, if you do Python web stack, e.g. making CRM kind of stuff for a client, how much market I can cover because I can't do data science because I suck at math. Most of the work in development has very little to do with math. So math is not even close. Math is not even close to being a major issue in most development. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. You get into web stack and mobile app development, etc. It has nothing to do with math. So, math is way overstated by people. Math and algorithms, very niche in the development world. Hi, Stefan. You have a visitor from Iran. Cool. Well, welcome from Iran. Okay, let's see what we got. Is contributing to open source a good strategy to get a job as a self-taught developer looking to work remotely? It's a good place to start, but again, real-world work with clients is even better. That's. I would favor trying to get some small gigs, even free ones with some clients. But yeah, definitely contributing can help build your resume. What is the joke with Ruby? I'm semi-new here. Goes back a long time. It's just an old joke. It's an old joke. I started cracking them, I don't know, a year or two ago, and people expect me to crack Ruby jokes every now and then. All right. I love graphic design. How do I merge it perfectly with AI or machine learning? That's an interesting question. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I think maybe you would work for an AI-based company that has an AI-based product, but they need to build a nice-looking website or a nice-looking user interface to profile their AI, if you will. That's something I talk about. People will make a lot of judgments about the quality of your product based on how nice-looking the user interface is. If the user interface looks great, then I have a good feeling about it. If your app has a super efficient code behind the scenes, they won't know. The only time they'll know whether the code's no good is if it breaks. So I hope that answers that question. Step. I think he means Steph. Step, are you a fan of the Habs? No. I do not support my local team because they do not support me. I don't mind hockey; it's fun. But all joking aside, I'm not a hockey fan. I much preferred watching boxing and MMA. At what age did you start programming? 22 or something? 22, 23, it was kind of new. It was back in the early 90s. Okay, let me scroll down a bit more. How are we doing for time here? 37 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go for a few more minutes. I got a few calls I got to return, as you guys heard. 206. Okay. Here we go. I'll answer this. What age did you start programming? How can I learn CSS? I just answered it. At what age? You can learn CSS by taking a CSS course. Hi, from France. What do you think about COBOL? Well, I just did a video yesterday showing that COBOL is in demand. I've never written COBOL, but that's like that language is like 5,000 years old, and people still need COBOL programmers. That's why I keep telling people, with some rare exceptions, whatever language you learn, it's probably good, especially if you pick one of the big ones, JavaScript, Java, PHP, Python, not Ruby. If you pick any of those, SQL, there's going to be plenty of work for years, so don't worry about it. And if something should happen, you can just pivot into something else. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Here's a good one. Sean Carter. My reason learning to code was to get into automation and ML, but was told that I'm better off learning web development to get my foot in the door within the industry. What's your take on that? Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. There's just so much of a demand, right? It's always about demand. But yeah, machine learning, it's probably a lot more academic jobs, machine learning, meaning you're going to have to have some sort of degree. But when you're doing the web stack, it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something unusual here. Wow, I got to call this guy back. Hold on. I'll answer some questions. So let's see what's going on. Always very professional here. Okay. Gracias is, hey, how are you? I'm going to have to call you back. I'm doing a live stream now. Yeah, right now, very professional. I figure I'd return the call while live streaming. So yeah. Anyway, but you're a programmer, so it's okay. I'll call you later. Bye. All right. I'm going to have to select that again. Would you be offering a discounted version of your program? Student here who has lost a job would definitely want to do your program. Either way, all the best. Yeah, I'll be having a coupon. I have a coupon. I think it's still active. Check my the community tab on YouTube. Let's see what we got here. I read that one. That's weird. There we go. I think we spend more time in the development environment, for example, Android Studio Gradle or fixing UI errors. Try to build simple app with React Native rather than creating algorithms. Agree. 100%. Algorithm creation is so overblown. If somebody tells you, you got to learn algorithms, you got to learn algorithms, they clearly they're not experienced developers. It's such a, unless they're in machine learning or something, it's so rare, you know. Here we go. What age did you learn programming? How long did it take you? I started coding when I was in my early 20s, and I started with just the basic web stuff, and then I wasn't trying to be a programmer. I just learned to build website pages in the early 1990s for my business. It had nothing to do with technology. So I wasn't actively trying to pursue that. I was just doing what I needed to do whatever I want to do. But you know, you can get up and running as a very junior coder within, you know, a couple months as a junior, and then you start developing. And the first 3 years, you learn quite a bit. Yeah, okay. People ask me the same questions over and over again, or the software is messing up. Okay. Let's see. I'm scrolling down a bit to jump ahead and see what's going on. All right. Kirk, regarding the GitHub question, I mean presenting the code from tutorials, GitHub, as personal projects, showing the interviews of these projects. Code from tutorial. No, don't misrepresent. Don't do that. Don't say these are your own personal projects when you're just copying tutorials. That would, no. You might not get caught, but it's kind of a little dishonest. Just tell them what it is. Be transparent about what you're doing. Again, don't be afraid to go out there and talk to a prospective client. Do something for free. Trust me, working with somebody else, dealing with them and dealing with the back and forth is so valuable, way beyond just code, especially over tutorials. You should think of tutorials as training wheels on a kid's bicycle. Right? You got to get rid of those training wheels quick. You got to go out there and do the real thing. Saint Mixin, I like your name. Hey, it's Stefan Misha. I took your WD course, my web stack course, and it's been invaluable. Oh, thanks. I'm glad it helped. I gained much knowledge and confidence in web design. Oh, WD, web design course. Still got a deal. Nope. What happened? He disappeared. Oh, well. I don't know where he is now. All right. Lost. I gotta change the settings here. What is your opinion of C#? Is it worth learning? It's one of the most important languages out there. It's in the same family as Java and JavaScript and C++, and to a lesser extent PHP. So it is a very good language to learn. I would not be against you learning that. Okay, let me go on. Okay. Steph, I finished your Web Foundations course. It is very well put together. Thanks. I'm glad you got some use out of it. Okay. How are we doing for time? 44 minutes. We're getting there. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Oof, so many questions. All right, well, how many thumbs up? I only got 76 thumbs up. Come on, guys. Come on. Give me some thumbs ups here. 214 people. It's good for Google. I'm just kidding. Don't give me any thumbs up. Let's go on. Why stack when you can WordPress it? Yeah, if WordPress will do the job, then use WordPress. You know, the top 3 rules of programming are reuse, reuse, reuse. You don't want to be rebuilding things that are already built, you know? There we go. Hey, Stefan, I'd like to build a SaaS. What would be a good market? Well, you have to study the market. That's the thing, right? You have to get in there. I always tell people, if you're getting into the SaaS building game, it's more important that you have good domain knowledge of the market you want to get into, than having coding skills. right? It's more important that you have good domain knowledge and coding skills. So you're going to have to do your market research in that regard. If you want to learn all about that, my entrepreneur course teaches all about that kind of stuff. Let me scroll down a bit. Let's see. Chris Brock says, "I'll kick your ass, old man." You maybe. You'd be the first. Hi, Stefan. I'd like to build a SaaS. What would be a good market? Oh, I read that one. Okay. See, I'm going C now. Okay. Here we go. I like this little commentary. Is your course on full stack web development meant for kids? Sorry if it seems like a silly question. Your main site just seems like it's meant for K-12 computer education. My HTML5, CSS3 course, especially those two, they're targeted for middle school and up, but I have lots of colleges use them, a lot of professionals use them. So they start off very, very easy to understand, but they get pretty complex where by the end of the CSS3 course, you're building a fully responsive website using modern techniques and so on. Then you get into JavaScript, you're getting full JS. So the courses address both groups. So when the younger students use it, they'll only use like the HTML, for example. But I have colleges use StudioWeb, and they'll use the Python, the JavaScript, and so forth. But even the HTML, you're going to learn a lot. It's I kind of designed the courses to kind of be like the Harry Potter books, where they're kind of targeted at kids, the early ones, but adults love them a lot too. Just look at the reviews. Look at the reviews, how many people started their careers. It's a good question, though. Yeah, I see that. I noticed that. People are spamming their questions like this is a pissing competition. Yes. Please don't spam questions. How old are you? 169 years old. Love from Pakistan. Well, love right back at you from Canada. I hope you guys are handling your corona situation. Yeah, laugh my ass off. Steph needs a moderator for chat. Yeah, like Ruby guy. Hey, Roberto, you going to be my moderator? Come on. Maybe somebody could write a Ruby script to monitor everything. All right. What's that? That's interesting. Okay, that's not it. Hey, Steph, how much was web hosting back in the 90s? About the same as today or more? You know what? It was about the same for like entry level, a little more expensive, but when it came to higher level hosting, it was much more expensive. Now, you know what? Scratch that. It was much more expensive because you didn't have unlimited bandwidth. You usually get like, you have 5 email accounts, You didn't have nearly the capability that they have now for free. It was much, much more expensive if you consider, especially if you consider the amount of power and the unlimited bandwidth that you get nowadays. So much more, it's much, much more expensive back then, as you would expect. Okay, I like this one. Bro, you are wonderful. All right, well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see what this guy, Louis, says. Just like my boss says, you got to write code that your dog understands. True or false? Your boss knows what he's talking about. Exactly. Okay, answer that question. Here's a good question. Jose, how do you make people trust an app if they have to get it from somewhere else other than the official store? You got to develop reputation. One of the things I talk about, one of the key assets that you can develop, especially when you're young, is a good reputation. So if Jose becomes very well known out there, your app will be trusted. So I would definitely look at building reputation for yourself, for your app. And I would also go responsive website or PWA because they don't have to install anything necessarily, right? So I'm very reluctant personally to install apps from third-party developers on my phone, like extremely reluctant. So maybe you want to go PWA. That might be a good way to approach it. What do we got? All right, Jeff B. Let's see what he has to say. Hey, Steph, thanks for your videos. I've done your classes, and they were very helpful. With all this going on, what do you think will happen to Webstack? Will it grow or shrink? Webstack is going to explode, because people are starting to see that, keeping distance, working from home, remote business, remote learning, all this stuff is going to be big. So the Webstack is it's just going to get bigger. Just going to get bigger. There we go. Dear Steph, how do I get a strong work ethic? I can't code more than 1 hour. That reminds me, the original idea for this stream was to talk about my 20-minute a day advice that I give to people. 20-minute day of coding and 20-minute day of learning to code. Now, I suggest a 20-minute a day minimum as a tool just to get you in front of the computer, start coding. Because once you sit down and you start coding, typically you're going to spend much more than 20 minutes, but at least you've moved the ball forward. So even if you just do 20 minutes and you're bored, you go, forget it. At least you're going to have moved the ball forward in terms of learning how to code or pushing your project forward or whatnot. And it's important you want to keep that momentum going. What I would say is, if you find an hour is really hard for you to do, what I would do is just, the next day, maybe take one day off and then try it again and maybe do 20 minutes. And you gotta work with that. You gotta work your way through it. This is something I would have to structure maybe. It's more of a psychological question than anything else in terms of motivation. I would have to do a dedicated stream on that. So I hope that helps a little bit anyway. So yeah, just to remind you, the question was, how do I get a strong work ethic? So you build it you build it like lifting weights or something. You build it. So a little bit every day, taking breaks, that will help, Somebody asked, do we write questions here? Yes, in the chat. I don't guarantee I'll answer them because I get so many questions. So many chats, especially with the spammers. Please don't spam. Okay, here we go. We are at 53 minutes. Okay, I'm about to wrap this up. Should I freelance web developer also offer hosting? What are your thoughts? I talked about this. Offering hosting is kind of an easy way to start getting into passive income, but it can be a pain because you're going to have them calling you up for technical support, where things is probably on their end, like my email doesn't work, what's going on? And it turns out that they forget their password. So you may have to deal with that kind of thing with regards to offering hosting. But if you have a long-term plan to start offering a lot of hosting, it becomes more palatable to manage hosting if you have, let's say, 1,000 clients or 5,000 clients. But that's going to take time. So there you go. So you have to understand there is headaches when you do that. So if you're not going to like doing support like that, then you might not want to get into hosting. All right, let's go on. What do you think about Python Django to approach startups and enterprises as a freelancer? It depends on the startup. The startup's going to decide what stacks they want to use, Let me say, Patrick puts out a good point. People should just wait patiently and stop spamming. Yeah, that would be good. I might have to get a moderator in here. Okay. Stefan, is learning Flutter worth it if you're good in Java? Well, I assume if you're good in Java, do you have a job in Java? Do you like your job in Java? Have you looked at Flutter and Dart? Is there any job opportunities for you in your area? Let the money help you. That's a weird. I'm going to put this one because it's a weird question. Mr. Steph, are you a human or a person? All right. Let's see. Last question. Last two questions. As employee or freelance coder, what kind of industries do you recommend to step in? If you're going to go employee, you probably want to go work for a large organization where you want to move up ranks, where there's a possibility we can move up higher. But you have to understand, you have to get used to the corporate structure. It's a different type of environment than working for a smaller company, where you're more, it's controlled where and what type of work that you do. If you work for a smaller business, you're going to be jumping all over the place if you like that kind of thing. Industry, if you're freelancing, you're going to be working for small business. Never as a freelancer try to go get contracts with big companies, because they'll never hire you. Unless you're working, they will hire you to do little things here and there, but don't ever, one of the big mistakes young business owners and freelancing is owning business they make is that they assume that they try to go after clients, big clients. Typically big businesses will not hire or partner with small businesses unless you have a very unique technology or offering. Okay, let me finish the last two questions, and I'm out of here. Get a social influencer to put their stamp of approval on your app and back reference it. Yeah, that's some good advice. How to get people to trust your product. Yeah, get some social influencer who's got some influence, and they can help you out there. That's a good suggestion, Thomas. Sadi. Last one. Hey, Stefan does have a coupon code for a StudioWeb course that is still active. I used it last night. Bring it down to $25.99 from $39. There you go. So Sadi gave you the answer. Yes, you just go to my, as I said earlier, you go to the community tab. I think I put it in there. If not, just write me and I will send you the coupon code. All right, guys. Oof. We've been on for almost an hour. I'm going to let this go. I have calls to return, and I hope you enjoyed this live stream. And there you go. Okay, this one has caught my attention. I've been studying all sorts of topics on programming and doing code katas to practice the fundamentals. But when you came to code my ideas, I freeze. Any suggestions? Yes. If you're comfortable with the fundamentals, let's say you're doing web stack, can you build a site? Can you deploy it? Can you hit the database if you're doing server-side coding with whatever language you happen to be using? If you can, go do a freelance gig and then trial by fire, learn it that way. You'll learn so much more quickly, as people have commented before. You will learn more in 5 months, in 1 month, doing a real project when you spend 6-7 months doing tutorials, okay? All right, thanks, guys. Stay safe, you too. Be sure to wash your hands and do your social distancing so we can get past all this silly stuff with the virus, which is a real pain, but we got to do it. And I hope you enjoyed the live stream, guys. Take care.